And then, okay, the first question is edible or poisonous. The second question is about that is beneficial or not. So medicinal or not, okay? So there are many Asian people using the medicinal fungus. Have you heard about the lychee? Yes, right. And many Chinese people like that. Then also Korea is very famous. That is the herb known as the herb of eternal use, okay? If you keep this one, this one is very hard, so you can make it directly, but you can make a tea and then drink water like tea, then keep your young youth, right? So many people just working in this fungus. This fungus have all kind of effect: anti-cancer, anti-allergens, antioxidant, and whatever, all kind of. It means axillary motion. Okay, so I asked Dr. Google, what is the Ganoderma lucidum? So how old is Ganoderma lucidum? That is a distinct feature. So when you just learn about this one, you cannot forget it. Okay, so you can identify it easily. But you don't know exactly about the taxonomy. So the very similar one is Ganoderma juge. So I asked Ganoderma juge. Okay, here is the two column is Ganoderma juge. This one is Ganoderma lucidum. Can you distinguish it? No. What's different? So this one growing on coniferous tree, and this one is deciduous tree. Okay, but this one is if fully dead, decayed tree, you cannot distinguish what is conifer, what is hardwood. So very difficult. But anyway, so right now there are so many people, researchers, sequencing them, and then they got share the database in DNA sequence. So right now we can use the metagenomic approaches. Okay. So right now, all you have when you just go to another country, not all the country, but for example, United States, when you just go to immigrations, you have to take the fingerprint, right? Why you need the fingerprint? Okay, all your information is put in the same, right? And then make a database. If there are no databases, you cannot detect the matches you and somebody, right? So in our country, so all people just deposit in the fingerprint, all of them. So that's why the CSI is possible, right? If there's somebody just touched that and then take the fingerprint and compare to all the databases in our country's people. Okay. So right now there are so many fungal DNA sequencing is deposited in open databases. So metagenomic approach is possible for now. Okay. Okay, this study was been done with Jonathan Holmes. Okay. So nowadays all the spring in Korea we have a big problem of the yellow dust from Mongolia and northern China. And very severe. At the time, there are so many patients got some problem with allergen or whatever. So in this area, it's just a dust, and also there are many plant, also bacteria and fungi as well. So we wanted to know what kind of fungi inside of this yellow dust. At the time, so we're using the next generation sequencing. You may have heard about this technique. Okay, this one is previously we did one by one sequencing, but nowadays DNA extractions from directly from the soil or water or whatever. And then so in this case, we're using the air sampler and then trap the air, and then the filter papers with DNA extractions from filter paper, and then in that cases there are many different DNA from plant pollen or bacteria and fungus. So we just using this fungal specific primer and then amplify only fungal DNA, and then so we analyze it. And then so we found that there are so many the fungus that causes plant disease, and that is we expected. But there are so many a human allergen also detected in this study. So it means I live in Seoul, and then there are so many population living there in all the spring seasons. So if we go walk outside, and there are so many allergens just inside of the yellow. So that is, if the weak person, the baby, is not good for take outside in that case. Okay, so this one is the area of fungal diversity is higher than previous we believe, and also this one is the we give the baseline for future work in influence Asian dust storm on area of fungal diversity. Similarly, this research is similar. That is the pigeon. There are many pigeon in Hong Kong as well. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, pigeon is a symbol of peace, right? But how come this one is got a red with wings? Right? Because the population is quite increasing in the big city. See, it's always big city is always down and freckle. It's really the bad conditions. So quite all the time is pigeons were suspect carrier of a potential pathogenic fungi. But this fungus, actually this why that population quickly increasing, because the dove is the symbol of peace. So when all it became, and then the first is 1952, Helsinki Olympic Games, when they just released 2,500 doves. And then later, in 1968, Mexico City, 10,000 doves released. Where they are going? They go to mountain, or they just stay in big city, right? In Korea, in Seoul, we have Asian Games and Olympic Games. 2 times, and 6,000 pigeons will released. So that's why they just population quickly increasing. They just move around in Seoul area. So I wonder how many pathogenic fungus in pigeon faeces, or what is the pigeon's role? They really carry itself, or just provide the pigeon faeces? That is the nutrient. So we collect the whole area in Seoul, and of course some of them is dry faeces and some of them is fresh ones. We try our best to collect the dry one and the fresh one as well. And then so we using the amplified whole fungal DNA, and then see a whole diversity. There are so many different kind of fungi in there, but we just focus on clinical fungi to human pathogenic fungus. Because if we just explain what kind of so many different kind of fungi, people never have interested in it. Okay, if there are so many, just one strong pathogen in there, everybody just pay attention. So we just focus the clinical fungi. And then this one is 35, the human pathogenic fungus is found from the old sample, dry faeces. And then 18 species detected in fresh sample. But most of them is the previously reported from aerial. So it means the airborne fungi growing on these pigeon species. And then we selected the clinical fungi, and then the which area is a high population or high frequency of that fungi, and then what kind of environment factor is affected the frequency of this clinical fungi. Finally, we conclude that the culture-independent relative abundance of this culture-dependent, independent method show that many are clinical fungi in there, and then the geographically and the green ratio, multiple house, and the number of worker habitat type is related with the frequency of clinical fungi. It means the clinical fungi is closely related with the pigeon population. And the pigeon's role is the not just carry the the pathogenic fungus. Instead of that, they provide the nutrient, and then fungus, airborne fungi are growing on their faeces. So what is that? We conclude that the government agency, actually when we did the Olympic Games, Asian Games, we released the pigeon. Okay, not their fault, our fault. So it means the government agency may develop the better strategies to control pigeon populations and to maintain the highest level of cleanliness of pigeon faeces. Nowadays, if we just kill the pigeon, then NGO said, no way, we have to keep the pigeon, right? So instead of this, if you let them grow in everywhere, but be careful when you just carrying the baby or small children. In these cases, if there are so many the faeces in there, that is very famous because there are a lot of clinical fungi and or bacteria can grow in there. Okay, this is the last. Okay, I would like to thank Jonathan Fong to invite me here, and all Marks and Paulina and Ivy. And also this one is the picture from when I visited Antarctic area, and this one is Punta Arenas in Chile. It's a really nice area. And then I really like, I want to just give you a final word. And this one is Carpe Diem, qua minimum, credula postero. Do you know what this means? Is anybody? I can give you credit. I really like, and then you must be tired. This one is the last class. Okay, it's Carpe Diem, seize the day. Enjoy your life for now. Okay, when I was an undergraduate student, I didn't decide yet what I'm gonna do in my future. But when I watched the movie, and then this one is really give them to us some. I was so impressive, that kind of work. Okay? So this one is just enjoy your life for now and then trust right now. Okay? Don't trust tomorrow. It means don't delay your work. Okay? If you have something to do, and then right now you do. And then spend all your energy and then doing well and practice. Okay? In this case, your future is no problem at all. Okay, you are all have a potential students, and you have a really, wonderful students. You're gonna be a future good scientist or whatever. Okay, so trust me, and then follow this one. Okay, you can be a good person. Thank you very much for your attention.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah, anything is okay. I try my best.
So I have a question about finding new species. So if you're looking for a mammal species, you would go to places that are very well protected and no one's been before. Where would you look for new fungi? Or can you look anywhere?
Yeah, actually the fungi is everywhere, and then they disperse by insect or by wind or whatever, right? So actually the different place is better. Right now there are so many mycologists working in the Europe first and then North America. But nowadays the Russia is no mycologist. Okay, so that is a hotspot. And I really like to fly fishing, so when I went to Sampling, I bring my fishing gear and fly fishing. And also I really like to, football player, everybody know him, right? And then every Monday night I play with my colleague, football. And then he is left-handed and small, like me. So my nickname is Messi. You know what, Messi, what he pointed out, the mushroom and this one. Promise word.
Yeah, I'll give you a funny story. So actually, if you took a map and saw where we went to collect mushrooms, it's very interesting, but it's always near some good fishing place in Korea. Any questions?
Yes.
why would you want to study fungi in the university?
Yes, that's a good point. Actually, when I started in the university, and at the time, the famous one is molecular microbiology or immunology. I studied a lot, and then I want to go. I want to study immunology and the molecular microbiology. That is quite promising, right? But my friend encouraged me, okay, if you come to my laboratory, we can go mountain and then drink a beer and then relax. So I studied this fungus. Okay? But at the time, I didn't know about that exactly what it is. But when I started the first time, but I cannot go back to other laboratory. So if I stop, and then, okay, I'll try my best. Okay, less people working in there, and then 2 years later, when I just found a new species, okay, and then the small population in mycologists in Korea, I'm the second person. My professor is the first, and I'm the second. But if I go to immunology or molecular biology, then there are so many people here, and excellent students when there, I cannot get jobs in the university. So my strategy is quite good, okay? So I just encourage this. Okay, you can go a nice, company and you can get the money, but there are so many good, excellent students and working there. So the competition is so high, you got a lot of stress. So instead of them, just they developed a new way. Okay, for now it is different, but in the future, okay, you can get good success.
Any more questions?
They are hungry.
I wanted to make a comment. I'm even though I worked in your lab and have studied fungi, actually the first time I studied fungi was in your lab. I was always hearing you talk. I'm always, I don't know, you never expect to be excited about a talk about fungi or mushrooms, but I always learn something new when I listen to your talk. And and thanks for reminding me of this study on the pigeons. That was probably the most interesting fieldwork I've ever done. It was very interesting wandering around Seoul, following the pigeons, picking up their poo.
Right.
Yeah. And of course, when I'm wandering around doing this, everyone is looking at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. But and any questions?
I want to ask that what could a biologist who study the fungi could do? Just only finding the new species of the fungi or anything else that can be?
Yeah, actually there are so many different fields. If you interested in fungus, you can do taxonomy or ecology or medicinal and then physiology. You can do everything. But in my case is, there are so many fungus in the world. So just finding new species and then make a systematic, classification is too much work for me. So if I have graduate students 100, I can do everything. But right now I'm working in that one is the kingdom fungi. Okay, so taxonomy. So I just studying on kingdom fungi. So normally I said with my students when I'm teaching, I'm a kingdom. I'm a king because I'm studying on kingdom fungi. So if you are interested, you can do everything.
Yes.
Right, thank you, Professor Lim. It was a great talk. So just I noticed is that you were using GIS as well to actually model the fungi. I'm just curious, is like other than the air quality, are there any other environmental factors that you notice? So are there any environmental settings or factors that you have actually studied?
In where?
Um,
The future?
Yeah, well, with the fungi, because I see you have some maps trying to look at, so I'm just curious to know a bit more. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that one, yeah.
Yes, yes. This one is the absolute concentration of clinical fungi. Okay.
So it's about the quantity.
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But have you think about like relating it to other environmental
Yes,
factors?
actually we did.
Mhm.
Then there is the green ratio and multiple house, and then how that if that clean apartment is just a less the quantity, but the poor people live and there's so many populations, and in these cases there are a lot of the food debris and the pigeons are together, right? Yeah, he can explain.
So, something else that we found that we thought was very interesting was in a lot of the old areas of the city, there's a lot more fungi. So, yeah, so if you think it makes sense, right? The old buildings, old cities, old part of the city were probably had more pigeons or had more fungi, maybe older buildings. The newer parts of the city actually had less fungi species. Yeah.
So clean. So that's why. Good.
Anything else? Okay, then please help me thank Professor Lim again. Again, thank you for